Oh man, guys, we love making sure that you are entertained in all sorts of spheres of life. Now, recently, though, I must admit, we've been doing a lot of educating on so many different things, especially with COVID-19. But today we are bringing you something lighter, something warmer, something that feels like a little bit of sunshine.
Yes. Hey, strange that you should say that because the next interview that we have, Nipho Mkhize, most EKSE viewers would know him because he was once here in studio to serenade us with his music.
Oh,
and what I love about umculo wakhe udibanisa generations that are so much apart, people that are different from all walks of life. Abane heritage are different, cultures are different, and when you listen to the music of his, it makes you feel like you are one.
Yeah. Nipho, well, I mean, we've just described so many things of you, but one thing that we also must mention is that you have new music that is out, and I said warm because, darling, you are giving us warm skies, and Llama said you are covering a bit of R&B and also quite a lot of some soulful music, which we obviously in the studio love. Let me tell you, we love everything that's soulful. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Honorable Nipho Mkhize.
Yes.
Hi.
You guys should do my PR.
Well,
we should.
Well, how much you paying? Anyways, Nipho, before we dwell on to ezinye izinto ezininzi, postcards from 1994, what could they be saying?
Yeah, so I think myself and my good friend and producer Edward King went on a musical journey, and we really I don't know why, I don't know how, but we felt the responsibility of introducing an old school of music to a new generation. I think the music that means a lot to me is jazz. Growing up, my father listened to a lot of jazz. It's a form of music that carries a lot of depth, and then we kind of wanted to make music that's meaningful and impactful. And in making that music, we kind of try to find the narratives and the stories that are critical, that are part of our past and part of who we are, and part of what makes us strong as a country and as people. And so that's the musical journey that we went on. Yeah.
One can argue, sorry, my love, one can argue that 1994, you are not there. So how important is it for us as young people to even have the stories and really understand and sort of play around with the idea, because everything is in the imagination, just play around with the idea of what it is that was happening in 1994 and how true are we keeping the message? Because we weren't there.
Yeah, well, I think to know where you're going, you need to know where you've come from. And I think the idea of hope was one that I kind of wanted to push through. I guess music that celebrates a lot of the culture, brings out a lot of the culture, and so I think our past as a country can bring a lot of courage and a lot of direction to where we need to go to. Is that I think. What this country is a part of all of us and who we are. And so while it didn't impact us that much, or at least we weren't really a part of the traumatic side of it, I think we need to take away the hope and the reconciliation of it. Ideas that I think are important to carry through in life. And when your country's foundation is based on that, I think you need to run with it and you need to celebrate that. And so that's what we're trying to do with that particular message of 1994. Just how redemptive and how important and how significant that can be going forward.
Artists are very sensitive individuals in so much
I can't tell.
So much so that they are very nitty and picky as to whom they work with.
Yes,
you know, they're very careful as to who they take to stage or to the studio, who they're writing with. What made it so easy for you to work with Edward?
Yeah, well, we went to film school together, and so I've known him for about 7 years. So in film school, we kind of struck up a friendship. I've always been impressed, not to talk up my own producer or the guy that produced for me, but I've always been impressed with the way he goes about his work. He's infinitely talented, but always seemed to have a sober-minded, humble approach in his work. I don't know if I've ever met a guy that works so hard at his craft and works so hard at really making something that's worthwhile. And so as much as he's a collaborator of mine, he's an inspiration to me. And I think when you're friends and you've got a friendship, it helps with the music.
Yeah.
And I think when you find that chemistry, I think you work to not fight against it, and so you work to get along. You work to make sure that that the chemistry, you add more logs to the fire more than neglect it and take it for granted. And so he's just a guy that I don't want to take for granted in my friendship with him and in the music that we've made together.
Right. And I mean, what's on everyone's lips right now is you are a musician, and obviously artists are going through something that is very incredible right now, which is something that is tying us in our homes. We can't do live shows. We can't go out and sing to the people. We can't do live performances. We are literally locked up. We are in prison. So how are you dealing? And other than dealing, I mean, we did touch on something that was very important, is that you make music that aggressively acts out against depression, against feelings of anxiety, against feelings of anger, to make sure that you produce something that is light and that makes you feel good about yourself. While healing yourself, you're also going to be healing your crowd as well. So how has the lockdown been treating you and your mental health?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough question, but on a lighter note, I'm grateful for TikTok.
A lot of people that have come on the show are actually very grateful for TikTok. You're not the first one, I promise.
Yeah, so I think, if I'm honest, I think in a lot of ways I've grown with my music, and within the industry and how the industry is structured, there's obviously a lot of frustration from every side. And I think when you kind of go on the other side of that and you try to ask the question and figure out what is the significance of being an artist, I think the thing about art and music is you can heal through your music. You can reconcile past trauma. It's a profession where you have the ability to express yourself and get something back from it. I think that's why I'm in it. I'm in music for it, is I want to be able to be as honest and as humble as possible, to also heal myself and connect in that kind of middle ground. And so I think, mental health, when you talk about mental health, I think, healing is a process. It's an everyday thing. And it's not one thing that it requires. It requires support, it requires courage, it requires strength, it requires humility. But I would just say to anybody that is struggling with anything like mental health is that, one, you're not alone. And there are people and there are things that you can find healing and truth in that can get you through. And I think this music that I've put out, a lot of it is about joy, and a lot of it is about freedom, and a lot of it is just I want to write music to get people out of deep and dark places. Right. And so I guess that's my way of contributing to the conversation and to people. And I think making a difference is sometimes more important than making a living. So I'm just grateful to have that opportunity.
Speaking of such things, because say Fumana Assistant Nipho is somebody who loves people and who does things for his community rather than himself. He did this one, a music video with Ingoma Yake Warm Skies. It was done in the community. People are having a jolly good time. We're gonna check it out, and when we return, he's gonna be telling us about Warm Skies. Keep it locked. London is being naughty right here.
I was helping.
No, you were not.
I promise you I was trying to help.
Let me help you by letting you know where we are on Twitter. On the streets there, we are EKSE_live. On Facebook, it's EKSE on Cape Town TV.
Yes,
on
sir.
the landline, 021-448-0448. On the World Wide Web, it's capetowntv.org. Or you can email us, go EKSE@capetowntv.org. With you right through to the hour 5 p.m. every weekday, Monday through Friday.
Listen, darlings, and like that's not enough. Mau miss out the day before. You can always go back on the next day from 7 to 8. We are still edutaining you.
And
So
if you
I
do
love
not
to
have a
see it.
television, where do you find us?
You can find us on YouTube because we are everywhere except on Cape Town TV.
Yes, if you just joined us and you caught a snippet some music videos, Kawamska is the artist behind all of that, Nipho Mkhize. He's here joining us via Skype. What a beautiful song, what a beautiful music video.
Yo.
And he did it for the people.
I love to see it. Like us, for the People's Channel.
Yeah.
He's doing it for the people. We love everything that is all about doing it for the people. Now, Llama said before we went to a little bit of an ad break, he talked about your album, which is titled, not album, a song which is titled Warm Skies. Can you please just let us into that? What were you thinking going into it? I mean, you did shoot it in the community. Everyone is having the best of fun. Everyone is feeling
They're
good.
under warm skies,
You listen.
guys.
It was warm.
Yeah.
It was nice. So walk us through that, please.
Yeah, well, firstly, I've got to give credit to the director, Motion Billy, and he's a good friend of mine.
I know
and that's
him.
where he grew.
Ubani?
Yeah, that's where he grew
good.
up. And the reason, I guess the reason why I need to big him up is because when he heard the song, he wanted to make it personal for himself, and I guess he wanted to share his home. And so he made sure that that the cameras were safe, everything was good to go. He got the community around the song, and I think that's where, for me, collaborating can be such a beautiful process. And so, firstly, to him for the idea and the concept, and making sure that the song carries through visually through a music video. And so, yeah, Warm Skies. I think again for me, as a musician, you find yourself in a rut and in a hole quite a few times. And I must be honest, I found myself where I couldn't really see forward in the industry. I didn't really know what was happening next. I didn't really know what the next step was. And I think I made a decision to aggressively attack my fears. And what I mean by that is that I try to mentally and emotionally live my life on the opposite side of what I'm feeling and all the doubts. And the idea of South Africa for me became a lifeline. You know what I mean? Like you talk about South Africa, it's like, I mean, I don't know if there's a better picture of heaven. You know what I mean? Like it's not a perfect country. It's a devastating country with a lot of things that are wrong with it. But the uniqueness, the beauty, the vibrancy, there's just so much to that idea of reconciliation and uniqueness. That idea became a powerful idea for me. And I think if there's one thing I was trying to say with the song is that I want to stand with you as a South African, is that I'm not just on Twitter kind of trying to break you down. I think the message of we need to stand together on the things that bring us together and that make us South Africans. I think there's an empowering thing that can happen with that. So that's the idea that I wanted to bring through the song Warm Stars.
Our frustrations might differ and get levels as it is. So I wouldn't know what are your frustrations in this period here, lockdown. But I want to find out, what are your plans for the future? What is life going to be like for Nipho post lockdown?
Great question. So I've got a part 2 that I need to release. So the Postcards from 1994, there was a part 1 that I released with 5 tracks, and we in June going to release a part 2, and so that's on the cards. And so I guess I've got more than enough time to get all my thoughts down on paper, which I've been doing during lockdown. And I think after June, I don't want to say too much now, but I think I'm moving on to a new season and a new chapter. And I don't want to say too much about it now, but I think the priority is to drop part 2, and after that, I'm going into kind of a new season of my life and a new journey, but I won't say too much about that.
Don't say anything. We might go to level 10.
You know, hey, listen, we're not trying to speak anything into the universe and then, it jinxes everything. But one thing that we are definitely looking forward to is you coming to Cape Town and you being in the studio. 100%. We're not going to negotiate on that. We're not asking you, Nipho. We are telling you that you're going to be joining us. Now, where can we consume all of your music? I know some people are sitting at home saying, Lwa, I actually want to listen to the song and I want to consume more of your music. Where can we go and find it?
Right. Yeah. So the song is on. So I've got a page on Facebook, Nipho and Sophia Town. So that's got kind of all the details of all my music and what I'm doing and what I've done. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. The handle is Nipho_SA. And then Spotify and YouTube and all the social platforms. If you type in Postcards from 1994, it'll be on iTunes, Spotify, and so guys can get the album there. And then on my YouTube channel, Nipho Mkhize, all my videos are there as well.
Yep, that's about it, Nipho. You've finished our time. We don't have it anymore. You choked all of it. But we're not complaining. It was an absolute pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you so much. It's always great to have musicians and people on the show who are doing absolutely everything that they can to make sure that their careers are actually manifesting and they're coming to pass. So we thank you. We love you from everyone in EKSE. Goodbye. But right now we're going to take a short break.
Yep.
We're going to take a short break and we'll see you after this.
Sure.